overall, the season, it seems like there's a real foundation there.
Yeah.
That Troy has instilled. What's the next step now?
Next step is winning games consistently. I think as good as a year as it seems so far, we've only won 2 games. Is it 2 games now or 3? 2 games. We've only won 2 games. So prior to us winning that last game against who was it here at home? Montreal. I mean, we hadn't won in about a month. So I think for us it's starting to turn these draws into wins, and because at the end of the day, although getting a result on the road is good, draws don't really do much for you in the standings. So yeah, just turning these draws into wins, start scoring our chances and putting teams away early.
How have you, in your first season with DC, how do you think you've settled into that role as a right back or sometimes as a wing back in your combination?
Yeah, settled in well. I think having good players around you always makes it easier, but obviously for me, I'm given a lot of freedom to sort of play how I like to play, and the coaches are very supportive of that. So settling in was obviously very easy, and yeah, I think so far it's been going really well, and obviously just keep getting better every game and just keep doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, just obviously, like you kind of just mentioned, settling in with your team this year. Just a lot of moving pieces, especially on the defensive side for you guys. How's the chemistry and gelling with the people in and out, and Steven not being in, and Bono being in, having a great season and goal? How has that chemistry kind of been built? I know it's still early on in the season.
Yeah, I think the chemistry's been good. I think for the majority of the season, it's been the same back line, really. I've obviously never played with Steve, and I'd never played with Bones coming in. So for me, there wasn't any adjustment to be made, really. Obviously, we would love to have Steve back, but at the same time, Chris and Lucas have been playing extremely well, and then obviously Bones stepping in there, you wouldn't be able to tell he's wasn't the starter coming into the year. So I think the camaraderie between everyone is really good, and obviously I think you've seen defensively we've been pretty sound. So, but yeah, like I said, as the same as we're working on the offensive side of things, we got to keep improving defensively, and once everything comes together, we'll be good.
You know, Orlando on paper and where they sit in the table, they're near the bottom, but it's still early in the season. How do you guys approach a team like Orlando as they come here to Audi this weekend?
Yeah, approach every game the same. I think we know Orlando is an extremely dangerous team. I think coming into the year they were one of the favorites in the Eastern Conference. So for us, it's treating it as if, I mean, we're going away to Columbus again. Obviously, style of play and stuff will be different, but we're trying to go into every game with the same energy. We're obviously going to try to implement our style of play and sort of impose ourselves on them early. And like I said, hopefully we can start putting teams away early in the first half versus letting them hang in all the way until the end.
You mentioned coming off another tie, and what's the feeling when you lose a match or you tie a match that you guys were leading? Does it have the same kind of feeling when you come back to practice that week, or what's that feeling like when you had a lead against Columbus, but you guys end up with just getting 1 point instead of 3?
Yeah, there's ties that feel like wins, and then there's ties that feel like losses, and that was one of the ones that felt like a loss because the game was completely in our hands, and it seemed like we didn't make the right adjustments sort of when they went a man down and we were a man up, we were still sort of letting them dictate the game, which shouldn't be happening. And that was all stuff we talked through this week. Obviously it's stuff that when it happens early on in the year, it's fine because we can sort of keep correcting that as we go on. But yeah, the last game was one of those ties that felt like a loss, and then obviously we got a game like Portland where we come back from 2-0 down and it feels like a win. So it's always different, but at the end of the day, if you told us we were gonna get a point in Columbus, we'd obviously take it. We would have loved the win, but yeah, we got to keep winning our home games, and then as long as we keep getting results on the road, I think by the end of the year we'll see ourselves in a good spot.
And Matt, we'll take some from Zoom now.
We'll go to Dave Johnson.
Hey, Aaron, I talked to Troy about this, but just, what Christian Benteke does beyond the goals, how much does that help the rest of the team in terms of, setting the tone to what you accomplish? I see him defending on corner kicks or all over the place. It does so much more than the goals.
Yeah, I mean, Christian is obviously he's a player that you love to have on your team in all aspects, and I mean, obviously yeah, like you said, the goals are great, but yeah, all the little things he does and sort of winning aerial duels and offensively and defensively is huge for us. And we would like to get him more goals. I think he should have almost double the amount of goals he has right now already. So I think that's going to come, and I think towards the end of the year you'll see him in the running for the Golden Boot for sure. But yeah, all the little things he does is huge.
Talk about getting him more goals. What's missing? Or is it that old final ball, final play, or what have you seen that has kept his goal total lower than it could be?
Honestly, I think a little bit of misfortune. I think Chris has had a ton of chances that have hit the post. Keepers made great saves, and I think once we're able to put just a little more of that killer instinct in the final third, whether it's the final ball or it's Chris completing the final finish, I think you've seen there's a lot of games where he's had the opportunity to maybe have 3 goals in the first half or so, and you know I think Chris will be the first one to tell you the same thing, that he knows he could have scored more goals at this point. But at the same time, the final ball hasn't been good enough a lot of the time from the guys around him. So we need to clean up all those sort of things. And obviously he's an extremely lethal player, and one we're very fortunate to have.
And what's your big concern or focus with Orlando? That they're so organized, they've got talent. What's really on your radar?
Yeah, I think they just have a ton of attacking talent and a ton of guys that can turn the game on its head in a moment's notice. So we've got to be extremely organized from minute 1 to 90. And yeah, I mean, you can't afford to give them space. They got 3, 4, 5 guys that can all punish you in different ways in the attacking third. So for us, it's being extremely clean defensively and knowing what we want to do, and then obviously we've got to be good on the ball ourselves and put our chances away. And the best defense is offense. So if we can be in control of the ball more, we'll be able to limit those guys more.